Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ramblings from the Warp, brought to you by Late Night Dice. As always, I'm joined by Kyle the Hairy and Christian the Beautiful.
How you doing, fellas
Hey
and
everybody,
ladies
not just the fellas.
and ladies?
Kyle's out here. Hello, my DEI friends. Um, so I was having a conversation today, and I want to talk about it. So I've heard the whole internet pretty much, and majority of the people that we play with, outside of our core group, like there's a few guys that like I talk to and hang out with, and the same complaint about 3.0 keeps coming up. And I know that Kyle feels this way to a degree as well. 3.0 feels like they took away a lot of the extravagance. They took away like all the crazy, because I'm sure you guys heard me say that a lot in 2.0 was like the balance in 2.0 is that everyone has crazy. Find your crazy, lean into it. And that crazy is not there anymore. And the more I thought about it, I think that GW pulled a WoW, and I think they compressed it. And what I mean by that is we would play 2.0 games, right? And I'm sure you guys remember some of these interactions. Like you'd go play a Dark Angels game. And you'd be like, yeah, here's my 2 units of Internight Cenobium. Here are my Interrupters. By the way, I'm under this right of war. The entire battlefield is difficult terrain. And then the next guy would be like, oh yeah, I'm playing Death Guard. And by the way, I ignore all terrain. Then you go to the next guy and he's like, yeah, I brought a World Eaters list. Everything has phalanx blades. Everything. What about those scouts? Found a way to pack them with phalanx blades. Okay, what are you playing? Oh, I'm playing some Blood Angels. What do you have? 90 Dawnbreakers. Oh, okay, cool. The extremes were all over the place. You'd have the Rite of Wars, where like, I'm going to deep strike everything. And then the next guy is like, everything is difficult terrain. And then the next guy was like, you can't see me until I shoot you. There was always something weird, Rite of War. And I think, where we used to see this in certain video games like WoW and whatever else, is it got to a point where the game was so big, they had to compress it. And I feel that's where we are with Horus Heresy, is I feel that they've pulled back a lot of the crazy and made it more baseline game, and the flavor comes from your list building. Thoughts? Well,
It
don't
makes
everybody
sense.
go fucking once.
I was waiting on Christian. He's the one who likes to talk. It makes sense. I think you're right. I think that they felt a little overwhelmed with how crazy everything had become, and so they decided that they were just going to change everything. I kind of, in some ways, am excited for it, and in other ways, I'm like, man, I was just understanding 2.0. Why you got to do this to me?
Well,
But
you
it
see,
does feel a lot like going from Halo 1 to Halo 2. I joined Halo 1 a little late. I was getting my ass kicked by all my friends, including you. And then Halo 2 popped, and everybody was like, oh my God, this is brand new. And I was like, yay, my turn to catch up. And I actually became really good along with you. So I think that's it'll be a nice leveling ground.
well, that's just the thing. The way that you described it, I guess, is perfect. It's a leveling ground for everyone. Took back everything, made it less crazy. I think that crazy is going to come with the journals, though, that are going to come out eventually. Um,
I think the crazy
I,
is going to come in the list building.
okay, so I think it's both, and hear me out. So I don't think the journals are going to be crazy. Now that could just me being still upset at the value we got in the first one. That book did not impress.
Yeah, you're
Like,
a little
like,
salty on that.
like to quote our country homegirl, like that did not impress me much. Because like I opened the book and I was like, okay, cool. There's story and then story and then story and then, oh look, a unit. That's it. And that's really how I felt about it, right? And so I don't know if the crazy is going to come from the journals. I think they're going to give you the options that'll let you forge your crazy. Like Master of Descent, the one that came in the first book, Master of Descent gives you some deep strike shenanigans. It doesn't modify the number of units you can bring in a deep strike in a turn, so the restriction is still there. It just gives you pretty much a guarantee that they're going to come in, which is awesome, right? But I don't think that this is, unbalancing or breaking anything crazy. I don't think it's providing anything exponentially crazy. I think the exponential crazy comes from, hey, one of the viewers was like, what's the maximum amount of points you can get into a list? I'm like, so glad you asked. 10,520. That's the most you can get out of a Crusade list, right? Well, I got to thinking on that, and I was like, but then you start thinking about the number of bodies you can fit and the way you can play with the detachments. So I think it's both. I think the journals are going to give us more and more keys to open more doors, and we're going to start stocking the shelves with crazy shit.
Okay, so how much of how much do you think of that legacy PDF came out that they had prepared for? Because on me, I'm thinking that GW had it ready for the journals, that they were gonna send that shit in waves and break out those models in plastic, so when they came out, they sell more. I think there was so much of an uproar that they just threw it all in one PDF and sent it out and said, "Here, calm down, all your shit's still here."
No, we knew we were going to get the legacies. We knew that was going to be a thing. That's always been the established norm. I say always. I mean, there's only been 3 editions, but when we went from 1 to 2, that was really just their way of not pulling an old world. Like, dude, the civil unrest, because that's how bad it was. The civil unrest that was caused by, here's Age of Sigmar, and if you play old world, fuck you, bro. That like, dude,
yeah, no, I know.
yeah, like that was like that was like some craziness. Like the outrage that came from that would justifiably so. Like I understand why they were upset, but then like one guy would be like, "Here you go, GW. I'm burning my whole collection." The next guy was like, "We'll just play 7th." Cool. There's 2 extremes, right? And so
yeah, I've always loved that form of protest. It's like, I hate you, Bud Light. I went and bought this 12 pack. I'm gonna shoot it with my gun. Like, all right. They
yeah,
still
like
bought it.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad you're funding this stupidity. Keep pushing it. So, but at the end of all of it, right? I think we were going to get the PDFs either way. What I do think is that we're going to see improvements to some of that along the lines, right? So, like it's already been kind of confirmed, we're going to get Legion specific Saturnines coming in one of the next books. That's dope. I'm hoping that we're going to see some things where they do it like the 1.0 turnabout, where they release a book and that book has something Legion specific for each Legion. And I'm praying that some of it's for Ultramarines because we don't have anything. But okay, I'm tangenting. It's okay.
Do you hear anything wrong with that statement, Kyle? Like, I don't think I'm worried about it. Are you worried about that? They could stay down there. Y'all need stuff, right? Gabe doesn't need more toys.
My whole ass, Christian. So I think the journals are going to give you more Legion flair, more of that fluff and that filler and that stuff you need to function more. I don't think that anyone should lean toward those Crusade books, those extra documents. If you're looking for those documents to fix the game, or if you're looking at those documents to be like the thing that gives you that edge, you're thinking about it the wrong way. Historically, Heresy has not been an FAQ heavy game. It has not been a balance heavy game. It is to tell a story, and it plays to tell a story. Now, that's not to say GW isn't going to flip the script one day and be like, here we go, competitive 30K, eat dicks. Not to say they won't do that, right? I'm just saying that that's how you kill a community. One of the questions you asked me once is you said, how many of these changes were asked for? How many of the changes between 2.0 to 3.0 were changes that were being asked for by the community?
None.
No. Can't say none, Kyle. You can't say none.
So
there are some.
No.
The artificer armor on sergeants. There you go.
Intercept the rule?
Well, so no, here's how I imagine it actually happened, right? And you guys are both parents, so you're gonna understand this 100%. If your kid keeps throwing shit against the wall, you take away the shit they throw against the wall,
Yeah.
right? So here's what happened. People who'd like to deep strike a lot were like, man, deep strike just they can intercept everything. And then the guys on the ground are like, you can deep strike everything. And GW is like, here's a perfectly good solution. You can't intercept anymore, and you can't deep strike anymore.
Now
I mean,
none of you get it.
it's like you wanted balance, and instead they were like, here's timeout with a number 2 pencil, bitch. Like, this is what you get. Right. So I
Yeah.
don't I'm not gonna say that the fixes or the changes that we got were not something that was being alluded to. I feel like someone said, man, this grass is stubborn, and they used fucking napalm.
Well, the reason why that question got brought up is our last episode. We were talking about points and why GW insists on doing 3,000 points, and then I thought about it because I thought about all the other times. I honestly think that was just like a community thing where they decided like 3,000 points, and then just GW ran with it after like 2.0. Was like, okay, the community wanted 3,000 just so they could take a lot of their fun stuff and make an actual heresy narrative game. So we'll just put 3,000, but say you could play with whatever you want.
I guess I'm a historian. When you think back to 1.0, 1.0 was played at 2,500 points. Right?
Okay.
But from 1.0 to 2.0, a lot of point values changed, a lot of system structure changed. The FOC and everything stayed the same, but the way knights worked and the way Lords of War worked and stuff like that changed a little bit. So the points got a little skewed. And that was the first time Games Workshop actually came out and they were like, hey, we recommend you play 3,000 points. That's going to be on the nose for what you expected from 1.0. So the main idea was that 3.0 was supposed to be on par for where 2,500 was in the previous edition, right? In this edition, they came out and they said, hey, 3,000 points is still where we like you guys to play. But in my head, man, it almost feels like we're supposed to be at 2,500. With the way points are and the way lists and everything are, I feel like we should be rolling back to 2,500. But like I said in the last podcast, if you're brand new to the game, you should probably be playing it like 1,000, right? So I don't think that was an arbitrary line that was drawn by the community or GW or any which way. I think that when they first made the jump from 1.0 to 2.0, GW was still relatively listening to the community. Because a lot of the changes that happened from 1.0 to 2.0 were really healthy changes. A lot of them were really healthy. I liked a lot of them. A ton of the crazy got taken out, a lot of the convoluted stuff from the game. I remain of the notion if you liked 1.0 psychic phase, you're into hardcore drugs. Like if you loved that psychic phase, you have dabbled in meth. So I liked the healthy changes. I really like where the game went from 1.0 to 2.0. I don't necessarily dislike where it went from 2.0 to 3.0. It's just a lot more change than people were ready for. And back to what I was saying earlier, like it feels like a lot of it is compression, was to make the game less overwhelming, for a lot of things and the game faster. I'm not against a faster version of Horus Heresy. I'm not even in the slightest. And, direct quote from Kyle, right? And Kyle said, I feel reaction starved. That was a direct quote from Kyle, right? After we played our first 3.0 game. I don't necessarily dislike that either, because I don't think the term reaction should be something that you do every single time something happens. It should be a reaction. So I do feel that they should have been limited a little bit because they did extend the game out even more. I don't like the mechanic where I pay for something and it gives me a piece of equipment that allows me to make a reaction. That I don't like. But that's more just me being a picky bastard. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that if I take apothecaries, now I can get a medic reaction. Or if I have a shield, it allows me to take this reaction. That kind of bothers me.
It's
Just
even as a Thousand Suns player, it's even worse because I'm paying to have a Prosper and Arcana that requires a reaction.
well, that's what I mean. Like,
Uh,
'cause I don't necessarily like that mechanic, but I do like the concept of reactions being a little bit more stingy, a little bit more picky. Like, you should have to time your reactions. I feel like reactions should be pivot points in a game. Like,
yeah,
man, you timed that one perfect. That was a great play of a reaction.
But
And if
what
you're doing
but
reactions,
what reactions are game changing like that though?
all of them. All
it
of them are.
potentially all of them.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with Christian.
If
Right.
you're a
So
good tactician, all of
I
Not
think,
if you have my dice, Christian.
them.
hey, light a candle for Lance if that's the case. Um, I'll tell you what, that boy's dice, man, they are Helen Keller, bro. If you need a 6, they will find a corner and roll for. Um, I think that reactions are very important. I think they're very game changing. But we're not going to see the true implications of that until we've got a good, 10, 15 games under our belt. And so we've really played through to see, really chew on it. Because right now we don't know when to use the reactions, because in 2.0 it was, oh, you're shooting at me. Would you like to react to that? Yes, that's a no-brainer. I'll react to that. By the way, my warlord trait allows me to take a second reaction in this phase, so I'm going to shoot back with the next one. Oh, and in the next phase, I'm going to use this reaction when you do this. And in the next phase, I'm going to use this reaction to do this. It was like, dude, you got some spidey senses as much as you can react. So I don't dislike the stinginess of it. And I don't dislike the, as you put it, Kyle, being starved of reactions. I think where it's going to be very important is once you understand where those reactions are played and how they are played, they will become another muscle memory thing of, hey, this is a good time to use that. I'm not going to get a chance to do it later, or this is a really important moment. I think that's where that's really
So
going to key in.
I feel like they're a lot like potions in Skyrim. I found this badass potion of frost resistance. I don't know when I'm going to use it, so I'm going to hold on to it because it doesn't weigh a lot. I can keep it in my bag. And then you beat the game, and you're like, fuck, I never used any of these 9,000 potions that are in my pocket because I was always saving them for the next turn.
To a degree.
And I could understand being reaction starved if I didn't have so many options. How many reactions are there base in the game, plus your advanced reaction, plus my psychic reactions? You know, like, all right, cool. I
I
got a choice of 40 places to spend this one reaction, two reactions that I have in this entire turn.
I'll take that over every time I take a step, turn over a rock, shoot a gun. There's a
Yeah.
consequence. You know what I mean? Like I am 100% okay with not turning Horus Heresy into fucking Dark Souls. Like I'm because there for a while I know that for it, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if you guys felt this way, but I felt like every time you guys shot at me, I was like, okay, delete that.
Okay, reaction. I'm gonna shoot at you, and then I'm gonna shoot at you again. Okay, next turn. Okay, now I'm gonna do this. Yeah,
Yeah, like
I think the
every one of
reactions are
my
too much.
every one of my turns it felt like, and there's one to grow on, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and these are reactions. So I do feel like they needed to dumb it down a little bit. Now I do understand where you're coming from in the sense of like, why did you give me 15 million options if I can only use 2?
Yeah.
Right. And I guess that comes down to better to have it, not use it, than not have it at all. So yeah, you may have all of these different options, and I guess I would feel a little bit more for you if you're like you're Prosper and Arcana, right? Some of them are like, hey, you can use this to do a reaction, but they also give you another benefit that you're paying for, and a lot of those benefits are well worth the 10 points you pay. If that tracks, like, it's not like I'm paying for a piece of war gear that the like the reaction it gives me, for instance, like apothecaries are such a niche thing where they're like, hey, you can have this, and it gives you this medic rule, and you're like, okay, that will have to be perfectly timed. And that's if the apothecary doesn't die. I feel like your Prosperine Arcanas still give you a root benefit. The reaction is a bonus that gives you one more tool potentially later on. Having options isn't a bad thing. I really just didn't like the concept in this past edition. Like, I love the reaction concept. I think it was ingenious. I just didn't like the fact that it wasn't reactions. It felt more cause and effect. That's a better way to put it. It definitely felt more cause and effect, because at least from my point of view, I felt like when I reacted, it was game breaking. I don't know if you guys felt that way.
Well, you were
Well,
using it the right way.
When your reaction is, I'm going to shoot you with the squad that you're shooting and these 50 Volkites next to me. Yeah, that's kind of game breaking.
But that's
Right.
his army's role, though. It's kind of like how you do your psychic powers. Like, it's his crazy, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and I lean into my crazy. You know, I played Iron Warriors, and these guys were just like, "You should go back to your plantation. This list is oppressive." And I was like, "It's what?" I was actually like, I felt really bad about it. I was actually kind of like, man, that kind of kicked me in the dick. Like, I thought I played really well, and I really enjoyed the list, and this guy called me oppressive. Like, I'm some kind of a fucking like dickhead. I don't really get it. And then I found out that it's the stack. I always talk about the stack. Having one thing isn't too bad. When you have 9 other things that lead onto the same mechanic, it starts to become oppressive over time. And I think reactions really helped that oppression. The other thing that I'm really liking right now in 3rd edition that pretty much no one else agrees with me on is I like the new scoring process.
I
I
love the new
love it.
scoring process.
I love it. I love the idea that you can't just dominate me and score at the very end. You know, armies that had good staying power but didn't have very killy lists now have a chance to win playing the mechanic that they use. You know, gone are the days of, you know, like, hey, what'd you bring? Oh man, I brought 4 dreadnoughts, a bunch of rapier battery crews, a couple of artillery guns. Like, oh, what's the goal? Ah, well, you can't win if you're not on the table. You can't win if you're you can't win if you're not on the table. You know, how many times did you guys have like that one bad round that broke your list? It wasn't even like I played badly. It was I rolled bad armor saves on this list. These dudes just got hard countered, and these guys had a happy little accident, and now I'm completely busted for the rest of the game because I lost the one advantage I had at the moment. That's not the case anymore. Now you have to worry about those 2 guys you let live.
Yeah, I think that, and that's why we found las cannons and stuff so oppressive, was because of that right there. Was they were just units that had staying power, and whatever they saw, they would delete. And with all the reactions in the world, you could just, if you got first turn, first activation, this las cannon shoots at this squad, kills it. You shoot something that's not going to shoot back at you and kill all of it. Then when they try to take out your las cannon, you go, okay, reaction. So you got 2 activations for their activation of 1, and it just felt really bad.
Oh man, like, and I guess that was the other thing is I kind of feel like las cannon teams kind of turned into like colonial era duels where it was like, I spit at thee, fire at those las cannons, and my las cannons were like, shall we return fire, sir? And it just turned into like these volley fights between las cannon squads, right?
Yeah.
And so that was one thing that really kind of bothered me is I've never liked the mechanics where there were auto includes. I actually hate that term. I hate the concept of an auto include, something that's so good it must be in the list all the time. You know, last edition dreadnoughts were auto included. Well, guess what? Those are some of the ones that got smacked with a Joe Pesci stick. They're not as good as they were. They're still functional, but they're not auto includes anymore.
But I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure my las cannon guys are only ever used to get shot, or you only ever used to shoot once at their turn if I got the first turn, and then again when returning fire because they were getting shot at, and then they were dead.
Yeah, that's pretty much everybody's last cannons, right? It was like,
No,
okay, cool. You're going to
they
get
only
one
get 2
useful turn.
shots.
It,
Yeah.
yeah, it feels like one of those, like, you're running out there, somebody shoots the las cannons, and they're like, kill that motherfucker. Like, because
Yeah.
that is clearly the problem here, right? So, I didn't like that idea of the auto include thing. I've never really cared for it. I appreciate it. Like, I can sit there and say, like, yeah, that's definitely such a good unit. You want to take one. But it almost gets to that point where, like, you don't want to take it because it's just everybody's doing the same thing. It's cookie cutter, right? We're not seeing that in 3.0.
I think there's
And
one that you see that's an auto include from my eyes.
okay,
But I think you need to take at least 2 to 3 tactical marines with Nuncio boxes. Anything that scores. And I think that's, in my book, the only auto includes your battle line unit with
well,
Nuncio boxes.
that's just it. Everything scores now.
Yeah, but I get that. That's why I said, in my book, I would say
You know what I'm
tactical
hearing, Kyle?
marines.
What's that?
What when you line up your snipers, shoot the Nuncio boxes.
Yes, that's
That's
exactly what
that's what I'm picking up. Just like,
Uh-huh.
does that dude have antennas? Yeah, I'm gonna shoot him.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what they're for,
There's
is when you shoot at them that they basically pass a fucking status prop.
there's no point in shooting a sergeant anymore.
Other than soft stats, but yeah, like
Most of my guys, the soft stats are the exact same.
that's because you bring a lot of elite units. It's like that'd be like me being like, man, all these fucking suzerain have the same stat line. Well, yeah, they're all planetary governors. I hope they know how to read.
But none of those
How-
motherfuckers have any artificer armor anymore.
yeah, Kyle's out here like, I can't believe all these Kinatai cult can read. What bastards! Like, I think I agree with Christian. Statuses are going to be important enough that Nuncio boxes are worth taking. I don't know if I'd call them an auto include, but useful. Yeah, I think they're going to matter. Um, you know, on that same line of thought, it's probably just because the game is brand new and we haven't played enough of it. But I don't know
for
of
sure.
anything. I don't know of anything right now that is I will never take that other than a herald.
Damocles Rhino.
No, dude, Damocles is actually legit.
I think rhinos are legit. I think all types
No.
of rhinos are legit this edition too.
So the Damocles Rhino, talking about statuses, if you put a Master Signal instead of a Damocles Rhino, you get to use that Master Signal stuff for all the status checks through the antennas. And I think that ties into some of the other stuff too. That might actually tie into some of the Nuncio boxes as well. So I think a Damocles Rhino is actually like legit.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
I think but you know what the problem is for a Damocles Rhino for me?
What's up?
It's a lot easier to hide a person than it is to hide a fuck school bus. So, like, I'll tell you right now, like, whenever somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna take a bunch of tanks," I'm just like, you ever seen a fat dude hide behind a telephone pole?
Yeah, have you ever seen a rhino hide in the trees?
Yeah, there you go. You ever seen a rhino hide in a tree? Damn right. So, that's just how I list builds, right? Like, I think the Damocles Rhino is a fantastic model, which much to people's like anger.
You'd never bring an Ares dropship or Ares gunship.
No, I wouldn't. I probably won't bring a flyer. If you want to talk about a unit that probably isn't going to get a lot of love, you're not going to see a lot of flyers this edition.
Yeah, you're not going to see a lot of flyers. I don't know what they're thinking. I'm going to bring a flyer. I don't care.
I know a guy who's bringing a flyer.
Yeah, like it's going to be the biggest mosquito you've ever seen. That's how I feel about flyers right now. Is they're just like, bzzz, and then they leave.
What are they called? Distraction Carnifexes?
Ain't even a distraction anymore.
So the term distraction Carnifex, that is a throwback to old 40K. This is like 3rd edition, 4th edition 40K when Carnifexes were actually terrifying. you used to take multiples of them, and you took a few that you didn't put very much war gear on them, and you called them distraction carnifexes. Because you couldn't just ignore them. It's a carnifex. It's still going to eat people. Right? But it's not the scary carnifex. That's why they were distraction carnifexes. So the term kind of stuck where people were like, yeah, this out here just got to be my distraction carnifex. And I was like, I don't. Like, there's sometimes I hear people say it, and I'm like, that word doesn't mean what you think it means. Like, my favorite one is I listen to Custodes players, and this is going to be a shot at Christian, but I listen to some Custodes players like, yeah, this squad over here is just my distraction carnifex, so my Meridian Blades can make it. And I'm like, they're both fucking terrifying. What are you talking about? They're both horrifying. You know, yesterday, he sat there and said, hey, Gabe, I have a question. And I said, sure, Christian. He goes, I feel like the answer should be no, but I think the rules say it's a yes. I'm like, this is going to be great.
I think personally it's a no.
He
But
said,
rules is written.
did you know that a Paragon, that a Tribune can take Paragon of battle? I'm like, yeah, because a Tribune definitely needs +1 to weapon skill.
No.
And he can do it. He can do it.
No.
If he does, so help me God, Christian. When you do that, I need you to go and get one of those little baby Rumbas and put him on there. And you have to play the Selena soundtrack while it does the washing machine the entire game, because that's all it's going to do. It's going to washing machine its way through people. Because a Tribune with Paragon of Battle is still a thing to be feared.
And also, if I give it a shield, so I could just proc shield wall on it.
Buh. Yeah, I was kicking that around. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take a Praetor with an Augur pattern warding shield, so that I can shield wall with a Praetor and make it tough to 7. For the record, that's a distraction carnifex. What do you want to kill? All the suzerain or the toughness 7 Praetor that's wielding a hammer and a beat stick? I think Kyle's got bad memories about the Praetor though, because the other day it ate a whole squad.
That was fucking bad.
So it was actually kind of funny because he's like, I challenge, and I was like, I accept. And so the Praetor
no, sir.
Oh no, I hear rogue intervention.
You did a rogue intervention and challenged me.
That's right, because you were like, I don't want any part of that, and I was like, too bad, minion. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do
Saturnine Praetor versus a regular cataphractic Praetor.
Did you die?
Yes.
Not in a challenge. I mean, eventually, yeah.
That's because I used the withdrawal gambit to get away from you.
So I took the gambit that makes me like -2 to my initiative, but gives me +1 strength and +1 damage. And I swung and I critical hit Kyle with that hammer. And Kyle was like, okay, failed my armor save. I'm like, cool. 4 wounds. And he's like, he's got 1 left. I just broke dude's ribs, dude. And Kyle's like, that's enough. Withdraw. He was like, I'm fucking out of here. So that's one of those things, man. Like, I think it's still going to be a lot of fun planning the reactions and all the stuff, but I do like where the game is in the sense of how they balanced it. I do feel like reactions were a little burdensome in 2.0. I do feel that like the new list building and the character building is going to make some of those epic duels amazing. Like that challenge between our 2 Praetors was really weird because like my dude is swinging this big hammer and missing, and Kyle's like clink, 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 and can't get through the armor.
Yeah, I couldn't even hit you. I had to wound you on 6s as a Praetor. That's disgusting.
Yeah, like dude, it was just like he's sitting there like it almost felt like you guys saw Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
No.
Do you remember when Arya is practicing with Brenna Tarth and she's like clink 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 and Homegirl like just kicks her in the chest? That's what it was like, dude. It was like he's like clink 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 and I was like stop it and just like put him in the dirt. He got back up like holy shit, that sucked. That's what that challenge felt like, but it's pretty cool that it played that way. Beyond that, I do have one other thing I want to talk about.
What's that?
This pure conspiracy theory.
Oh no.
Okay, bro, get your foil hat out because this one's going to be one of those like everyone's about to laugh at me. This might kill this podcast, but I'm pretty sure that GW put rigged dice in all the starter boxes.
We given them a float test yet?
Bro, these basic bitch white dice that came in these boxes.
Don't put that out
Dude.
there, bro. Oh
Dude.
my god.
I was because the other night, like Christian was like, I want to see how Sagittarium roll out, and I was rolling out these little white dice. Bro, these bitches roll hot. Like they are hot. I was like, dude, these dice are like stout. And I was like, yeah, I'll play a game with these and see how they go. And I'm like, nah, I don't need that. I don't need that rumor running around. Gabe's playing with weighted dice. I ended up like one of those 40K players. Like, I could have sworn it had 5 6s. Like,
I'm just saying, Gabe. On the entire drive to Warzone, I'm putting all of my Thousand Suns dice on the windshield with the 6s up, so that heat from that sun bakes them into that layer.
You will do no such thing.
I think that works the opposite because wouldn't the weight be on the bottom? Well, okay, no, you're right. It works that way. See, I don't cheat my dice. My dice. Okay.
For the record. We're talking about the dudes always like my snipers keep blowing up their fucking heads.
Fuck, you're right. I need to do at least half of them with the ones up. You're right.
Oh, that's
I'll never forget when you came with that statistic. You were like, I have deployed 75 scouts and I have self-killed 65.
Yeah, 68. Yeah.
Oh,
because Alan fucked it up and shot 3 of them.
That's such a hilarious statistic to keep track of. That's right up there with TJ being like, can't get new dice. It changes your averages.
Yeah. Yeah, something needs to change those fucking averages because that shit hurts.
Oh man, that's funny. Now these little white dice though, they were cooking, bro.
I've got a question.
Fire away.
Of all of the weapon options for your Terminator squad, what's the best? Or do you believe in mixing them?
That's such a loaded question, man.
Or do you believe in mix and matching them?
I am always going to be hashtag Team Volkite. Because the reliability of Volkite is just awesome. You know, the Deflagrate has never let me down. And the number of shots you get per gun are always just good. It's like, again, we've talked about this. Gabe's principle playing Warhammer is I don't care how good your armor save is, show me 100 of them. Volkite does that. If I could bring 30 Volkites and I knew a tank wouldn't show up, I would bring 30 Volkites. But I think a tank's going to show up. Volkite can't kill tanks. I like Volkite.
What about melee weapons?
Ooh, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really liking dual lightning claws.
Yeah.
I think dual lightning claws have a place again. Now if you're looking for, like a hunt kill team, something that's just made to go out there and actually like jack something up, like you're always gonna have a mixed match, right? Like you're always gonna bring like a power fist or two, a chain fist maybe, or a thunder hammer, and then like a couple of dudes with some power weapons. Like you're gonna mix and match to make a cohesive team. I think that's even more relative now that weapon initiatives matter. Because that was one of the big rebalancings in this compression that I was talking about was in 2.0. If you had a power fist and I had a power axe, congratulations, we both fight last because they were both unwieldy, which is stupid. Right? It's dumb. Like that you can be over here like with an infinity gauntlet and I've just got an axe. An axe isn't that much slower than a sword. Why the hell am I fighting at the same time as the dude who's swinging a power fist? That makes no logical sense. Why is the axe swinging at the same speed as a thunder hammer? For Lake Hammer, we built a thunder hammer, a real life-size thunder hammer. Let me tell you what, dude, I can swing a sword a shitload faster than I can swing that monstrosity.
I could pick up a sword a whole lot faster than that monstrosity. That thing fucking threw shoulders out of socket.
Yeah, and then guys were out there smashing models with it. I was like, you guys are nuts. But, now that initiatives matter, it's kind of worth stacking your Terminators with a lot of different weapons, so you can fight at different initiative tiers and potentially get rid of things. So it's really open-ended question, but when it comes to shooting, it's going to be Volkites, and I'm team Lightning Claws if I'm hunting other infantry. You'll just have to skirt things like dreadnoughts and.
I'm liking Paragon Spears, bro. What are y'all? Have y'all tried taking Paragon Spears?
No. Dick.
I
I like to play with a fair and balanced army. I'm the Fox army.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I couldn't even say that with a straight face.
Hey Gabe, what flavor's your army? Vanilla with vanilla sprinkles. We couldn't even get rainbow sprinkles or nothing like colored sprinkles. We couldn't get nothing on our vanilla ice cream. It is vanilla ice cream with a splash of whipped cream on top. We don't even get the cherry.
You get the special, like, you get to get the vanilla ice cream early. That's what you get. You get double the points.
This dude's, I like to play a fair and balanced army. My ass. So dumb.
There's no funny wavy stuff over here. Nope.
You
Fair and balanced.
didn't see anything.
We bring you the truth.
What cracks me up is like watching Kyle do psychic powers is like the very first squad is like, you saw nothing. And then the next squad is doing it while crying like, you saw nothing.
Dude, that last practice game I played against Christian, first roll of the game, my fucking snipers blew up 3 of their heads.
Yep. That'll teach you to have hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
But no, like looking at the Terminators, now that I have them up, let me read, because I don't think that the loadouts are going to be bad. And I don't think there's necessarily a bad loadout. I'm not going to lie to you. I have a strategy for 3.0 that I don't want to put out there yet.
We'll put that on the Patreon. We'll put that on the Patreon.
I'm not going to do a Patreon. Let me take that back. There's nothing that I won't do based on the success of the channel. But I refuse to be one of those people that just like, you can't have my cool game knowledge without paying me. Like, what is this? Tabletop Tactics? Get fucked. Or Vanguard Tactics. Vanguard Tactics. That's the dude who's like, buy my 30-day program to become a better Warhammer player. Like, I'm not knocking you if you do that. Like, if you want to get better at the game, that's fantastic. But it's kind of like going to one of those like sales conferences where they're like, sell me this pin. I think you should just have some friends that play reps and you'll be fine. The mentality behind combi weapons is definitely something Terminators need to lean into.
Okay. What do you mean?
So it used to be that combi weapons were like, you shoot them and you pick the profile and all that kind of stuff. Well, some of them you can fire both profiles at the same time. And a lot of the time, the secondaries, like for instance, like a combi melta, cool, it's a bolt gun, but it also has a melta gun underneath it. That melta gun is a one-time use, but in a pinch, that's awesome. Imagine you're shooting at a squad of Saturnine Terminators, and the only thing left is a Saturnine Praetor, and you're like, you know what? Go gadget, melt a gun, and you kill him. Sounds like a great use at 10 points.
Yeah.
Or a combi Volkite. Combi Volkites are not single use. So you get 2 shots of bolt gunfire and you get 2 shots of Deflagrate Volkite. And you can fire both now.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Firing both of them at the same time. That made that rule crazy.
I really like that mechanic. Combi Flamers are one-time use. But you know what? If I've got a sergeant on a tactical squad, or if I've got a Terminator and he's got a combi flamer, and I roll up on a unit that's on an objective, there's a potential I'm going to hit him with Panic 1. One-time use, but if it's timed correctly, fantastic use of 10 points. So I think combis were wasted in 2.0 because a lot of them were still one-time use. Like the combi meltas were one-time use, but it was like, okay, that's fine. Cool. With the implementation of tactical statuses, I think combis are going to be completely different now. I think that you're going to see a little bit more usage out of them. You're going to see just overall just better versatility out of them. Power weapon-wise, like close combat weapons, man, I got to say the Twin Lightning Claws are going to wreck. Because Lightning Claws are both rending and breaching.
Oh shit, you get +2 attacks too.
Yeah, and you get +2 attacks for having a pair. So if you take a pair of Lightning Claws on a Terminator, for instance, like a Cataphractic Terminator squad, that's 4 attacks on that Terminator, and any 6s to hit are automatically wounds, and since they're breaching, they go to AP2. That's fantastic. I think that's going to be awesome. Hopefully
but we
that
also got to stay target priority.
Well, again, we go back into the fork and soup conversation. If you take a 5-man squad of Cataphracties with Twin Lightning Claws and you run up and try to go palm a Dreadnought, I'm going to tell you who's going to win that fight.
Well, if it's not a Siren Dreadnought, it's probably going to be the fucking Terminator.
Like whenever I see people who run at Dreadnoughts with certain squads, I think of that really shitty part in like RoboCop 2. Where he's on that big ass robot's back, just getting whipped around like his hair in a T-Pain concert, and like, like that's exactly what it looks like, right? It's just so stupid, and it's spoons go with soup and forks go with salads, right? Stop throwing forks at soup. Now, if you want to have a spork, give somebody a Thunderhammer. Or a Chain Fist. I wouldn't sleep on Chain Fist this edition.
Really?
Well, okay. So they're the same initiative detriment as a Power Fist, right? They're both initiative -3. Right? A Power Fist is strength +4, AP 2 damage. A Chain Fist is strength +6, AP 2 damage. Attack -1, so you will lose an attack to take a Chain Fist. But here's where it gets crazy. It is Armor Bane, so all your glances automatically become penetrations, and it has Shred 6. So if you roll a 6 to wound, you get to add 1 to the damage. So if you walk up and smack a tank, and you get that Armor Bane, and it was on a 6, well, fantastic. You're doing 3 damage per hit. And it's strength +6 on a regular Terminator. That's making it a strength 10 attack. So against a Dreadnought, if you're wounding and you happen to get a 6, cool, you're doing 3 damage instead of 2. Chain Fist can hurt a Dreadnought. And I can't stress this enough. It's worth investigating the fact that Dreadnoughts are weapon skill 4 now. So the fight is even in close combat against some of these other weapons where they didn't, because that's the big uphill fight from 2 to 3. In 2.0, all the Dreadnoughts were weapon skill 5. Even the Daredeos that didn't have arms were weapon skill 5. So if you ran up on a dreadnought, it's like, cool, you need 5s to hit them, and then you have to worry about what your strength is versus their T6 or T7 sometimes. Now it's like, cool, I'll hit you on 4s. That's a pretty even fight. That's as even of a fight as you're going to get. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, what I'm really looking forward to is our first 3.0 event, which I think you said for us, Gabe, would be in January.
Yeah, so one of our friends over at the ABB guys, John, which if you're listening to this and you don't know who John is, I would compel you to go join the Accountability Buddies group and talk to John. John has done enough for the hobby that, like, he deserves his flowers. I'm not going to knock that. He's putting on an event in Dallas. The details for that event are in the Discord for our channel, but that's going to be the first 3.0 event is going to be his in Dallas. That's the Grail Abyss. I think he's pairing up with the Fearix guys over on Lucas's crew, and they're doing that one in January. I think that's a 3-day heresy only event at Marathon Games in Dallas.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see what people are bringing, because as we're talking about what kills what and what, so I think we talked about it before. When it came to 2.0, you didn't know what people were bringing, but you could kind of see what they were bringing. You knew that there were only 3 heavy slots. You knew that there were only so many slots where people could bring stuff, where stuff was fighting for stuff. In 3.0, we don't know what anyone's bringing because you have to unlock the slots.
Yeah,
So
I think there was a certain safety in the concept of I'm only going to see 3 heavy supports.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
You know, now it's like, no.
Yeah. 3 heavy slots, and you were just like, hey, one of them's going to be a las cannon. The other 2, I'm not sure. Maybe one
Dude,
more las cannon squads if he's going to be that guy, but it's okay. It's whatever. But
I remember,
now it's just like, I don't know
what,
what's out there.
one of the guys that this guy is like, he's not my frenemy, but this is like my friendly, like, we have a healthy rivalry, is my buddy Calvin from Houston. And Calvin cracks me up because he was the one who was like, man, that Iron Warriors list is kind of oppressive. But when we would go to events, I went to Warzone because, you know, that's his hometown is in Houston. So I went to Warzone. Somebody was like, yeah, I got this. And I remember I walked up to a table and I was like, hey, Calvin, hang on. I got to see what this guy's got in his list. He's like, okay. I turn around. I'm like, all right. So you got 10 las cannons, a dreadnought, and what else?
Because
And
that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It
And
really
Calvin was laughing. I was laughing. And I got to the next table. I'm like, let me guess. You got a dreadnought, 10 las cannons, and what else? And they're like, Gabe, what do you have? And I'm like, it's funny you ask. I got 10 las cannons, a dreadnought, and then a bunch of other weapon squads. You know, it goes back to that mentality of an auto include, right? I don't like the concept of auto includes. And I like the idea that I'm actually going to go into games blind. Truly blind. Like, I know you're going to have some command. That's about the best estimate I can give.
I know you're going to have 2 commands. Why is that? Because Officer of the Line is a crazy good thing that I think that's like the only auto include probably everyone's going to have in their list, right? At least one Officer of the Line.
I would think so, just to give you more detachment options. That's a healthy thing to say. But, and here's the other cool part, and this is gonna be one of those things that cracks me up. Centurions are throwaways.
Yeah, they don't have anything special other than command of the line thing.
Like
that's special.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is like, there's not a detriment to them dying, other than like Slay the Warlord. Like, if you lose your HQs, you'll lose Slay the Warlord. But beyond that, like, when you start looking at Centurions, it's like, what do you have them there? Like, oh, I add them to the squad so they have better soft stats. That's all he's there for. It's like, it's not like old school where I was like, oh, this is my Warlord, and if I lose him, I lose my my second reaction and I lose this and I lose this. Like, no, like if he dies, you got 2 points. Golf clap.
I think that's the only place GW messed up in this edition. And this is a hot take, is they had command for your Centurions, right? And then they had high command. So high command is probably, they thought, was like, everyone's going to take a high command because this is going to be your warlord. This isn't going to be your throwaway unit. But when you put the tax on how to unlock more detachments, it's the same thing for me. I'm almost thinking about not taking the Tribune just so I can take more command, like, because I need more slots. So, like you said, your throwaway unit, yeah, I would rather take 2 more of those and take one of my Warlord high command. That's really cool, just because I want more slots to play with more things. So that's the only place I think that they messed up on. I think maybe anyone that you made your Warlord should have at least unlocked 1 or 2 slots, like how command does. Like whoever you made your Warlord, they just get that on top of it. But
I feel like the problem is that you don't pick a warlord. The warlord is just like your command. I almost feel like had they added back in the concept of picking a warlord and maybe making it to where like warlords have very specific prime slot benefits, that would have been a really cool aesthetic.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest, dude, I like the simplicity of, I line up across from you, I'm like, okay, I'm playing Ultramarines, Legion benefit, they get a reaction for free. Cool. It's not look across the table and be like, okay, so you get this. What's your warlord trait? What's your right of war? Did you bring anything else? Is there another unit that unlocks a thing for you? Is there something I should be mindful of? Like, it's less about the gotchas and that kind of feeling, and it's just straight up like, let's play the game, play the theme, and let the game roll out. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, when I brought it up, I said our first event's going to be 3.0. We're also looking at a lot of information and the guys that are out there. And 3.0 is slowly, we're starting to see more bat reps. We're starting seeing more people get to it. When do you think? Because like our mindset right now, yes, we're in 3.0. We're full ready 3.0, but we're still going to 2 events, Gabe. We're 2.0. When do you think everyone's going to have that push into 3.0 where we're going to start seeing all these events saying, hey, Heresy's on 3.0 now, have a 3.0 list?
Okay. One of the 2 events that we're going to is the Lake Hammer event, which that time frame is our own fault, right? we could have gone to 3.0 and it would have worked fine. I think it's more along the lines of Lake Hammer is like a family feel. So we wanted to finish out 2.0 heavy and strong. Like we wanted to come out the gates. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I'm going major pain at Lake Hammer this year. If y'all want some sympathy, y'all better look in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. I ain't bringing it, dog. like, you know what I'm saying? So like
I've never heard that phrase. That's so good.
I'm gonna go heavy at Lake Hammer, right? Like I'm gonna roll out. That's gonna be my last 2.0 game of the year. Like I'm going heavy, right? That's in October, pimp. Like we could have run 3.0, but we wanted the Lake Hammer family to finish it on 2.0, and then I also understand Warzone was 2.0 because I agree with the mentality that those guys are having for that game, which is we want to finish out at 2.0 so that everyone who has their army and their legions and their rules and all their stuff for all like 7 people in the world that play Shattered Legions or Demons, right? You still have that avenue available to you to finish out, and it's a paid event. That's another big thing is I'm not going to say like if you're running a paid event and you're going to 3.0 that like I hate you. I just feel like it was kind of a real swift kick in the nuts if you were doing that within the same 2 months the game dropped. There's no acclimation time. There's no learning time. And the number one culprit behind misunderstandings is misinterpretation. Most of the time, when somebody's like, yeah, this guy cheated me, he didn't cheat you. You guys missed a comma. Right? How
You missed
often
the
do we
other
see that?
sentence.
Yeah, how often do we see where we're like, that's not how that plays? Like, yeah, it does. No, it says right here, this model cannot do this. And you're like, and can you read the line that comes right after it?
Shout out
Right?
to Jody.
Shout out to Jody. Yeah, because yeah. So we were sitting there the other day, we were talking about a rule. She goes, no, it's right here. Then Jody goes, and it goes on to say, right? So it's really easy to have a bad experience with a brand new system. And that's where I think it's the burden of the organizer, right? And the guys running Warzone right now, what I really like about the way they're running it is we're finishing out on 2.0 because we're familiar with the system. The tickets were on sale before 3.0 dropped. What I really like was with the raffle army, they went full tilt for 3.0. That raffle army is 100% out the gate. The books, the markers, the rule book, the army, everything about it is 3.0 solid. So whoever wins that is primed and ready for 3.0. We're all running toward 3.0. We're not avoiding it.
Yeah.
What's happening is a lot of places are finishing out 2.0. I don't think we're going to see it go past October. By November, December, we will be fully in the throes of 3.0 because by then all of the kinks will have been ironed out. All of the things, like a lot of guys are still using New Recruit, and a lot of guys are like, man, my legacies aren't New Recruit because it takes a long time to code. Right?
That's a lot of models too.
New Recruit's waiting. They base their databases off of another website, though, don't they?
It's a shared database. It's a shared database. It's not so much that they use someone else's. There's one database that a lot of different programs use. So I don't think we see any more 2.0 past November, unless you're in some of those, like there's some pretty hard rooted areas that are like, I don't know of an analogy that doesn't like lean toward racism, but it's real like they can come prying from a cold dead hands. Like there's a few out there that are like that are like, we're not going to go to 3.0. We're going to play Badab War 2.5. Okay. You're welcome to that. That's fine. If that's how you want to play it, I totally understand. I'm not knocking you. But I will point out there's an entire market of people that you're not exposing yourself to if you do that. I love going to Adepticon and playing with a lot of the guys that go up there. I love going to all the events across Texas. I love going to the stuff in Dallas. I love going to the stuff in Houston. I love the stuff that we do in San Antonio to a degree.
Uh-huh.
That's not a slight against San Antonio. That's more of a lot of the crew in San Antonio that I've come across play the Panoptica stuff, which that falls in that same line of I play Horus Heresy. I play the rule set of Horus Heresy. There are gentlemen's agreements in place. Like in 2.0, we were like, maybe you shouldn't take 9 dreadnoughts. Maybe that's not a good way to make friends. Right? Quiet gentleman's agreement. That's not the same as here's a book that goes with your other books. And if you don't have this book, you can't play with us. But by the way, this book isn't in publication. It's in a consistently ghost edited PDF format. Nah, I'm good. Right? I'm not knocking against them if that's how they like to play. I'm not going to yuck somebody's yum. But I like the consistency of the game I play in Dallas will be the game I play in Milwaukee, will be the game I play in Houston. I think we'll see the full plunge into that by November. Everywhere we go will be the same game by November.
Well, Kyle, you have any questions on your mind? That was mine. I just trying to see when it's actually going to. I feel like 3.0 hasn't blown up like it should have yet. And I just think that's because everyone is still having events run in 2.0 right now to close out the year.
I think that's part of it. I think the other problem is that it's the same thing that we've seen across all the different games where there's a new thing, and as much as people like, I don't consider myself an expert. I consider myself above average when it comes to gaming, at least in this game. Nobody wants to be the guy who goes out and played it wrong. And it's a really stupid problem because we're all going to get it wrong. We've been playing 2.0 for what, 3.5 years?
Yeah, that's about right.
Kyle found out 7 days ago that there's a movement bonus for charging.
Hey,
Just putting that out there.
I'm not the only one that found that out.
I found that out too.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, well, I said that. I was like, yeah, these custodes, they'll get this and this. And then you were like, no, they don't. I'm like, yeah, they do. Everyone gets that. And Kyle's like, no, they don't.
All three of us are wrong, but all three of us are right at the same time.
So, we just got to get out and play games. The only reason that the three guys in this chat right now haven't gone out and play games is because we are still gearing for some 2.0 games. Right? I'm going to go to Warzone and show my ass. It's happening. And at Lake Camera, I'm telling you, I'll bring some candles to light, dude. I'm going out like the 4th of July.
Look like freaking Nicolas Cage on The Rock.
Bro, I'm telling you, I'm gonna walk in that bitch wearing a bandana. Like, it's on. So, and I'm not gonna get as drunk this year, maybe. But
It all depends on what blows up.
Depends on what blows up.
I do not like the accuracy of that statement. But yeah, so I think that's part of our thing is we're not gearing up for 3.0 the way we should be because we're still holding in for 2.0 events. So by January, we're going to be so full tilt in the 3.0, we're probably not going to mention 2.0 anymore.
For sure.
Anything else on y'all's mind today?
What you got, Kyle?
I don't want to paint so many more tactical squads.
Shit and syphilis, bro. shit and syphilis. Like, I do not care. No sympathy. Like, I'm over here painting God knows how many models. Yeah. Everybody's out to paint. That's probably the other rude awakening of 3.0 is a lot of guys figured their lists were going to be able to easily port over, and that is not the case.
No, it's not. I'm having that problem with my 1,000 Suns. But
yeah,
Tech Marines are only 10 points apiece.
You know what? I just figured it out. I know why I don't care for the list building.
Why?
I feel like I'm buying a fucking car.
With all the accessories?
Dude, it is. I'm just like, I just want this. And they're like, you can't have that without the window package.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Like, that's how it feels. Right. It feels like buying a fucking car.
Black wheels with the black running boards and the black high accents. Oh, no, you can't have that if you don't get the black package.
And then here comes the shitbag. He's like, we can do all that, but you got to wear the license plate trim. I don't want the fucking license plate trim. Like, yeah, I think that's what I don't care for about it is I feel like I'm buying a car. I just have to buy so many extra things to make it work. I feel like I'm stuck in like Best Buy, and every time I try to go buy a headphone, they're trying to sell me a credit card. Like, yeah, I think that's the feel that that just clicked. As I was sitting here looking at the list builder that I'm working on because I am gonna make a short video on list building, like how the detachment breakdowns are, because pictures matter. And I was just sitting here thinking about it, like, why don't I like this? And that just clicked. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm
I guess
sit down from scratch and build a list for my 1,000 Suns, and then go and buy the models to fill out the list.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's where Mike kind of called it. When we were talking to Mike earlier today, he was like, I think the list starts with you build a wish list of what you want in and work your way backward.
Yeah. I'm not
Figure
gonna
out
be
what
able to
unlocks the
build.
slots for it.
I'm not gonna be able
Yeah.
to put in what I have painted. I have to build the list and then paint up to that list.
I
That
think
would be
you'll
a
be able.
funny thing to do. Is we all take our 2.0 list and just play it in 3.0, like as best as we can to see like what all changed. Be a fun
Ugh.
concept.
Ugh.
Dude, I'm 35 points short.
You know, honestly, what kills me in that scenario is all of my lists were built around my Ultramarine gimmick.
And it's not there no more.
So like, you almost feel like the only white dude at the barbecue. You're like, what is this guy doing here? Like, why is that unit here?
And I'm over
Like-
here like I brought the potato salads. I put all the raisins in it.
Right. That's kind of how it feels, man. Like I look at my 2.0 list compared to 3.0, and it's just like it doesn't click the same. So it'd definitely be a funny experiment, though. I'd play through it at least once.
I'm telling you, man, I'm 35 points short.
That's easy. Just put Corvidae on something.
No, put a Vox. What are they? Vox Nuncio Voxes on them.
Nucio boxes, yeah, probably.
Or,
I guess that's
like them.
I think that's a wrap up point for tonight. Unless you guys have some other burning question.
no,
I'm
we
good.
covered that with the syphilis.
Yeah, there we go. All right, everybody. Well, again, thanks for listening to another episode of Late Night Dice Ramblings from the Warp. We're glad to have you. As always, happy dice, happy life. Fuck Erebus. We'll catch you on the next one.
Adios.